Hey, I just did an update on the shooting, but watch. That's why you gotta watch this media. This media is very craftiness, man. Just listen what this lady's saying.
Luego ya no, cuando ya íbamos a pagar, mire cuando entraron unos hombres con pistolas disparando a toda la gente. ¿Eran varias personas? Más que una persona. Ok, por lo menos dos. Como tres o cuatro personas. Ajá. ¿Y cómo estaban vestidos? Yo los vi de negro. Okay, so you saw more than one person dressed in black shooting inside the Walmart. ¿Andaban ya uniformados como policías o...? No les vi la cara, solamente les vi abajo, pero traían... Yo los vi todo de negro y traían shorts puestos, no traían pantalón, eran shorts. Ah, ok. Y eran ellos los que iban disparando, porque yo nomás vi las pistolas largas cuando ellos iban así, porque yo miraba la luz claro. Oh, so she saw four individuals running in there in shorts, all dressed in black, shooting back and forth.
This is Second Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Least Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. Yeah, man, just your brother Tazamak right back, man. I knew something was fishy with that, man. But hey, man, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, man. The more truth gonna come out that this was agent provocateurs and this was something that the government wanted to do. Like I brought out the lesson, Esau is setting up his martial law, his police state, man. So with that, I want to say Shalom, call hello, Yimla. Double honors my apostles and elders of great millstone. Peace, salutation to Akim and her pushing this truth without righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, Akim. This is just gonna be real brief. Shalom.
Investigators are now trying to determine a motive in today's massacre. Chief Justice and Homeland Security correspondent Jeff Pegues is following that part of our story. Jeff?
Tonight, El Paso police are leading this investigation, but they are getting a lot of help from the FBI and ATF. There is a lot of evidence to sort through, as we've seen. There is surveillance video of the gunman walking in with his weapon. There is cell phone video and hundreds of witnesses to interview. And in the search for a motive, there is a note the alleged shooter posted online around the time the shooting began. The writer of the note said the shooting was a response to the Hispanic invasion of Texas, and the writer of the note also cites the Christchurch shooter in New Zealand, which is a reference to the mass shooting at two mosques that killed 51 people.
Jeff, when you think about the amount of people that were at that Walmart, possibly, as Janet just said, up to 3,000, talk about how that impacts the crime scene.
Well, this is going to be a lengthy investigation, and as we've seen in other active shooting investigations, Sharika, the FBI will likely take the lead gathering evidence of the crime scene. Investigators will collect bullet casings, clothing, and they'll interview every witness that they can find. The FBI has databases that it uses to collect all this evidence. Another important point here, they'll want to know whether the gunman had scouted this location in the past, if he had specific targets, and whether he had accomplices. The FBI or the ATF rather, will trace the weapon to see if it was purchased legally, and if not, how the gunman was able to get his hands on it in the first place, and the bullets. Jarika.
Thank you, Jeff, and of course we'll continue to follow this developing story.
New reporting here after that deadly shooting rampage terrified families running for cover at a food festival in Northern California. A band on stage when the shooting started panicked people trying to seek cover, hiding wherever they could. More than a dozen people injured, and when it was over, 3 people were killed, including this little boy, 6-year-old Stephen Romero. The 19-year-old gunman was armed with an assault-style rifle. He cut through a fence to get past security and metal detectors. Tonight, police are now looking at his social media posts, some of them including what authorities describe as white supremacist messaging. ABC's Will Carr leads us off from Gilroy, California tonight.
In a split second, a festival packed with families turned into a terrifying nightmare. Families running for their lives, with shots flying through the air, many at first believing those pops were fireworks exploding, but then realizing they were under attack.
Oh, they're shooting.
Victims rushed to safety. Some of those shot, thrown into the back of pickup trucks. Authorities say the gunman, 19-year-old Santino William Lagon, wearing camo, evaded tight security checkpoints and metal detectors by cutting through a fence, sneaking onto the festival grounds, then unloading on attendees with an assault-style rifle. Investigators believe the suspect purchased that gun legally just 3 weeks ago.
And all of a sudden these shots rang out, about 20 of them. Immediately it was like an automatic rifle. 8 or 10 after that.
The shooting left more than a dozen injured and 3 victims dead, including 6-year-old Steven Romero. Tonight, his family in mourning.
A really happy boy, a really loving boy.
Also killed 25-year-old Trevor Irby and 13-year-old Kayla Salazar. According to police, first responders exchanged gunfire with the suspect less than 60 seconds after he fired his first shot, ultimately shooting and killing him.
Despite the fact that they were outgunned with their handguns against a rifle, those 3 officers were able to fatally wound that suspect.
Heavily armed officers then combed the area for a potential second suspect, and today officers also searched this home once linked to the shooter. Authorities are parked outside of the suspect's father's house right now. On the inside, the ATF is trying to zero in on the motive. Tonight, authorities say the suspect's family is cooperating. Meanwhile, authorities tell ABC News they're looking into white supremacist messaging the shooter posted on his Instagram page and a post criticizing the festival minutes before he opened fire.
So let's get to Will Carr with us live tonight from the scene. I know, Will, authorities are still there on the festival ground.
I say, call hello, you lie. Yahweh Bashim Awashah, Bashim Akakwadash, the one is my apostles and elders of great millstone to rule well. Peace and sanitation on the argument, pushing this truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom. And what you see is Esau's losing power, so he's going to start acting out, man. He's going to start acting out against you tribes, man, because he hates you tribes, man. And it's time for you tribes to start waking up, man, because Esau is going to do more mass shootings, man. It's no coincidence that all these shootings has to happen less than a week. It's no coincidence that that shooting in El Paso, then there was a shooting right along in Ohio, Dayton, less than 14 hours, man. Why? Because, hey, man, Esau, he wants gun control, man. But at the same time, these Edomites, they're lashing out because they know they're losing power, man. They know that you Jakes are taking over their America, their so-called America, their safe haven. And this is Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil has come down unto you having great wrath, because he knows he have but a short time. And they know that, man. These devils know they have but a short time. They see the Hebrew Israelites on the highways and byways proclaiming the kingdom to come, man. They see you so-called northern tribes taking over so-called Texas and other places near the border, man. So they feeling like, hey, man, they have to lash out. They have to take their kingdom back, man. Why you think they see them getting all pumped up with that damn Trump juice at the rallies and stuff, man? Because they see that they're losing power. They see that their kingdom is falling right before their eyes, man. That's why it's time for you Jakes to start waking up, man. It's no coincidence that it's FEMA's doing a drill on August 7th at 2:20 p.m. next week, man. It's no coincidence, man, because they know that, hey, they're going to start pushing mass gun control. They're going to start pushing for martial law. That's what they're doing. That's what Esau's MO, man. But at the same time, these Edomites are lashing out because they see their kingdom is falling. This is Romans 13:11. In that, knowing the time, that it's high time to wake out of sleep. It's time for you Jakes to wake the hell up, man. You see that the devil's coming for your ass. You see that he's your natural born enemy. Hey, we don't have to keep telling you no more, man. This devil hates your ass, man. He hates your ass. And look, it's time for you to wake the hell up, especially you northern tribes, man. This devil's gonna keep coming for you too, man. Just like Judah, man. You starting to get that nigga wake up call, man. Judah been getting that since he been over here, since we've been over on this side, man. Now you northern tribes, you starting to catch a hell, man. You starting to catch that hell, man. This is Romans 13:11. Now that knowing the time, there's high time to wake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than we believe. Salvation's at the door, man. That's why you see a lot of mass chariot societies, man. That's why you see a lot of things and prophecies amping up in the spirit, man, because our salvation is at the door. Our salvation is here, man. It's time to wake the hell up, Jacob. Because guess what, man? This devil's about to he's gonna fight for his kingdom. He's gonna fight for his kingdom to the death, man. But you Jakes, man, you need to be fighting your kingdom to come, man. So you need to wake the hell up and starting on how to fight is coming back to your nationality, man. Getting out of the ways of America, because the ways of America leads to death, man. You see that? 3 mass shootings, man. 3 mass shootings less than a week, man. They haven't identified the guy there in Ohio, but more than likely it sounds about white. It sounds about white. It sounds like an Edomite, but we never know. We never know. But it sounds about white right now. It sounds like Esau is getting, he's fed up. And what more so is coming for you, Jakes, man? The Lord told you that it's Jacob's trouble, man. And Jacob's trouble for a reason. This is Jeremiah 30:7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. None is like it, man. You see a lot of these things, and you ain't never seen this before. Mass shooting year after year, man. And it's just going to get amped up more, man. It's going to get amped up more. Let me keep going. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. It's the time of Jacob's trouble is right now. Jacob's trouble is right now. Why you see they detaining Issachar? Why you see that mass shootings everywhere around the world? Why you see the rise of the RFID chip? Why you see the rise of martial law? Why you see the rise of these FEMA camps? Why? Because this is Jacob's trouble, man. It's time for you tribes to wake the hell up, man. Because Esau's gonna come down with great wrath, man. And not just Esau, these other nations is gonna come down with great wrath because they're gonna put the UN troops in these lands, man. They're gonna put the UN troops in these lands. It's on the legislation, man. It's on the legislation. That's martial law, man. That's United Nations. They're gonna come in this land. They're gonna what? They're gonna push that martial law, man. Because Esau wants to police the whole world, but it's gonna really he knows that it's gonna be mass insurrection in America. It's gonna be mass insurrection where these militia groups are gonna fight back. So they gotta start pushing and they gotta start spreading in certain areas so they can start detaining certain areas, man. Pressure from above, pressure from below, man. They gotta start quarantining certain areas off, man. That's why you see a false flag here, a false flag there, earthquake here, mass storms there, flooding here. Why? Because Esau, what he's doing, he's pushing forth his agenda of depopulation. But he's gonna start pushing that police state very soon, man. It's already here, man. Why you think a lot of these police officers train with military gear? Because they're getting trained so they can detain you damn Americans, man. They're getting detained so they can. They're getting trained so they can detain you, damn Americans, and put you in FEMA camps, put you in these old WalMarts that shut down, these old malls that shut down, these old Kmarts that shut down, all these places that shutting down. Why you think all these places in America are shutting down? So they can start detaining you, damn Americans, man. You Babylonians, more so you Jakes, man. That's what I'm talking to. You 12 tribes. They want you, man. They don't give a damn about they people, man. They just casualties, man. They're just casualties of war. Because it's the spiritual war first, man. But it's about to get physical. Well, hey, it's already getting physical. But so with that, man, hey, man, you Jakes need to wake the hell up, man. You Jakes need to wake the hell up and get out of this damn sunken place, man. I'm going to grab something real quick. Kind of like I was saying, man, this FEMA will conduct a nationwide emergency alert test on August 7th. And what this devil he does, he say he's doing tests, but sometimes they become real live scenes, real live events. Your Boston bombing, your 9/11, your Sandy Hook. A lot of these things supposed to be drills become live events, mass casualties. So you Jakes better wake the hell up, man, because this man he's coming, man. Revelation 12:12, man. That's what you need to be meditating on. Because Esau City, he has but a short time. So he want to take his kingdom back. Why you think they're walking around with these mega hats? make America great again. Because they know they got to get somebody out the way so they can get their kingdom back, man. But hey, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah, Esau can't do nothing but let his kingdom fall, because it's through the spirit, man. It's Yahweh Shem Shah's will, man. He the one set him up anyway. So he's going to make him fall. So with that, I want to say, call Halagim La, Yahweh Shem Shah, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honor to my apostles, the elders of great millstone, and rule well, all the true teachers of the nation of Israel. Peace and salutation, all you Achaman that's pushing this truth without righteousness and sincerity. Hey, truly trying to seek salvation. Because we see this devil. Hey, Esau, hey, it's going to be more mass shootings before this year is over with, man. Shalom.
Right, we've got some breaking news now. Iran's Revolutionary Guards say they have seized a foreign oil tanker in the Gulf, which they say was smuggling fuel to some Arab states. We'll get some more on this now by talking to our correspondent, Dorsa Jabari, who is in Tehran. Bring us up to date then. What's the very latest? What are they saying?
Well, Martine, we've had a statement that's been released by the Media Relations Department of the Revolutionary Guards. They say that they seized this vessel in near Farsi Island, which is an island that sits in the waters in between Iran and Saudi Arabia. This vessel was apparently seized on Wednesday with 7 crew members on board who have now all been arrested. The vessel was then moved to Bushehr, the port city of Bushehr in the south of the country. The Revolutionary Guards have said that this vessel was smuggling 700,000 liters of fuel. They didn't say where it was coming from, but said it was heading to a number of Arab countries. The statement also said that the Revolutionary Guards carried out the seizure after acquiring the appropriate documents from the country's judiciary. And for now, they have not released any more information about the details of this vessel.
Right, Dorsa, there's also another issue that we want to talk about with you, and that is an indication from the Iranian government that it appears that Mohammad Javad Zarif, the Iranian foreign minister, actually turned down an offer to go to the White House. Let's hear what the government spokesman had to say about it.
The U.S. action on Foreign Minister Zarif is against all diplomatic procedures and is an unprecedented event in the history of diplomacy. That one government keeps claiming to be ready for negotiations and then to put sanctions on a foreign minister of that country, well, isn't it ridiculous? He was invited by a senator to have a meeting at the White House, then they imposed sanctions on him. Foreign Minister Zarif is responsible for foreign policy, and any diplomatic path should pass through him.
All right, Dorsa's still with us. And Dorsa, so it seems as though the Iranian foreign minister invited to the White House turned them down. Do we know why?
Yes, apparently Mohammad Javad Zarif was on a trip to the United Nations in New York earlier this month, and he was invited to the White House. But apparently the position here is that any invitation that comes from any members of the U.S. government, Iran will continue to reject. That is because the Iranians have said that they will not have any dialogue with the American government until the U.S. Lifts all the sanctions they've imposed on Iran since withdrawing from the 2015 nuclear deal last year. Apparently, the government spokesperson Ali Rabi'i said that this is not the first time an Iranian official has been invited to hold talks with American officials, but they will continue to reject these offers because, according to the Iranians, the Americans have now waged economic terrorism on Iran. That is something the Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif has been fighting against on the international scene. During this time, he says that while the Americans continue to impose sanctions on the country, they say that they want to hold dialogue, and this is something that will never happen. And of course, Mohammad Javad Zarif, himself the latest victim of sanctions again from the United States government on Thursday, the U.S. Placed him under sanctions because they said that he was not an honest broker. The government spokesperson mentioned this morning that this is very ironic since the foreign minister is in charge of holding all diplomatic talks with the international community. And if the Americans sanction Javad Zarif, then that means that they're not interested in having any kind of dialogue. And therefore, any kind of a discussion in the future between the two countries looks very, very bleak at the moment.
Dorsa Jabari, live in Tehran. Thank you very much.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors, the elders and apostles, a great millstone who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahweh Shah, Hashem Rakakadash, Bracha Dum. So, looks like we have some shootings going on here. Whether they are real or they end up being fake, you know as well as I do that they're going to use these events to enforce gun control, which means that martial law must be around the corner, right? So they're going to keep on setting off events like this, you know, to enforce that gun control. You know, so they're saying now that there's 4 shooters on the Walmart shooting in El Paso, and then you got a few other shootings that have happened, and this is since the Black Moon's been over, Babylon the Great, you know, which, like I said, I had a lot of information come in one video that I had no choice but to break it up into 2 because there's just way too much information coming in. But that's how this thing is, man. It floods you. It's like, well, shit, okay, there's so much going on. What should I cover? Well, you know, the idea is communication. You know, you communicate with one another, you know, those that are over you. Yes, one-man camps have that same responsibility as 3-man camps, as 5-man camps, as a whole entire division, you know, like LA has 2 or 3 divisions, but they all check in with each other. They all have order, and it's just a matter of establishing order, you know. I have one that's over me that teaches in Sacramento, and I check in with him, make sure everything's good, you know, because he's the one that, well, we pretty much, I found him, and, well, we've been in contact ever since, you know, because, again, you know, it's just a matter of staying up, you know, staying in the truth, making sure you're not going off, making sure, well, if there's things that need correction, you know, by all means to get it, you know. Apostle Tahar, a couple of years ago, had put out the decree that you should do at least 3 videos a week, 10 minutes or more, and you should get together with a brother at least once a week, and of course you still have camps. If you're a one-man camp, you still try to get your 3 videos up 10 minutes or more, and still get together with a brother at least once a week, you know. And my means of doing that is by telephone, you know. I have a brother that I talk to a lot, you know. And that's just it, though, is that's how we stay edified in doing this thing, you know. Communication is key, you know. And it's not that hard, but nonetheless, though, I mean, things are popping off right and left, so going to be taking a look at things on the screencast, but just, you know, keep the faith is just, you know, in order to do that, though, you have to keep good communication. So I'll just switch over to the screencast, take a look at things happening, things that they don't want you to know about, things that they don't want you talking about. Other brothers' channels are getting strikes. They can't upload new videos to certain channels. They have to switch gears. You know, that can happen to me, too. So, you know, in case it happens, I have a secondary channel. That's why I put the information down below in my videos, just in case that does happen. So, all right, on to the screencast.
Well, following Trump's ambitious multi-billion-dollar space force that he announced, it looks like this is all coming closer, as what we've had here is the approval of all the money through this committee, the House Armed Service Committee, stating that this is going to all go down. The money has been granted, although they wanted to call it the Space Corps. Now, all of a sudden, Russia is saying that, no, this is going to spark a brand new arms race that could endanger humanity. And these are the exact words that come from Lavrov here this Friday as he is speaking at this Council on Foreign Ministries of BRICS, which involves Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and other smaller countries that want to latch onto them. Now, we know Russia's been making leaps and bounds in terms of space. They've been launching things that the United States is saying is suspect, in terms of one satellite that can go and chew up garbage, which it sounds good on the surface, right? It can go and it can chew in and chew up all kinds of garbage and debris out there. The thing about that, though, is it could also chew into and chew up any other existing and working satellite to cripple it and to take it out. So it goes a bunch of different ways. Both countries have deployed laser systems, along with Israel, along with India making moves, China obviously at the forefront of this. So it seems that the new mission here, as they move away from the ISS, is the United States is saying that their new space house, so to speak, or space base, is going to go around the moon instead of focus on going around the planet. It'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out, but Russia warning that this is heading in that direction, and for what it's worth, I wanted to put this information out there. I will leave a link below that has more details pertaining to all this. This has been Dabu7. Eyes to the skies.
And we begin this afternoon with foreign policy, where the Trump administration is reportedly planning to make cuts to the number of forces in Afghanistan before the 2020 election. And now a new report from the UN is causing quite a stir. RT's Rachel Blevins has the story.
It has been nearly 18 years since the United States invaded Afghanistan with the goal of defeating the Taliban. But now a new report has revealed that in 2019, the U.S. and its allies have actually killed more civilians than the terrorist group they promised to overthrow. According to the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, while civilian deaths caused by anti-government elements dropped 43% to 531 in the first half of 2019, deaths caused by pro-government forces increased 31% to 717. This is the second quarter in a row that the U.S. and its allies have killed more civilians than the Taliban and other terrorist groups in the area, leaving concern that 2019 could top 2018 as the worst year for civilian casualties on record. The UN's Deputy Secretary General noted that hundreds of thousands of civilians are also suffering as a result of being displaced from their homes.
In 2018, the country suffered the highest number of civilian casualties since UNAMA began recording figures in 2009. In the first 5 months of this year, more than 100,000 people were displaced by conflict, and we know displacement increases the risk of gender-based violence in all areas.
The death toll also includes American troops, and Central Command confirmed Monday that 2 U.S. soldiers were shot and killed by a soldier from Afghanistan. But President Trump wants to move forward with pulling troops out of the country, according to his top officials, who have claimed Trump plans to reduce combat troops in Afghanistan ahead of the 2020 election. However, former Pentagon official Michael Maloof argued that the U.S. will never truly be out of Afghanistan because they see it as a strategic military base to influence the region.
He may give the impression that he's cutting back U.S. troop presence, but will fill that with private military contractors. Afghanistan is a very strategic point for the United States, not only because ISIS wants to attack the United States from there, but also the United States uses Afghanistan as a platform to watch Iran.
As the devastating number of civilian casualties in Afghanistan continue to grow, reports have also shown that the Taliban is stronger now than it was when the war began, raising questions about whether the longest war in U.S. history will ever come to an end anytime soon. In Washington, Rachel Blevins, RT.
Now, in better news, it depends on how you look at it. Bashar al-Assad, who you already know is defending Syria, well, his wife was, diagnosed with breast cancer last year. Well, in an interview with Syrian TV, Ms. Asma al-Assad declares her triumph over cancer, expressing pride in her treatment in Syria. So, in other words, she's kind of got this thing back in remission and has overcome cancer. So, I do have this video here, which I'll go into it. And so here it is, and, like everything else, though, before I even came to the realization that I was an Israelite, a Jake, just the way things were going during the Obama administration and just the lies coming out, And there was an interview that Vladimir Putin put up, and it was on RT, so it's starting to dip into the alternative media, you know, and finding the truth about a lot of things that, well, you already know Saddam Hussein did not have the weapons of mass destruction that they claimed that he had, though he did use chemical weapons against Iran during the 80s, but there was no weapons of mass destruction. You know, they had already cleaned him out when they went in the first time. Nonetheless, though, Vladimir Putin said in an interview that if most Americans are admitting that going into Iraq was a mistake, then why are they so eager to repeat the same mistakes? And thus he was talking in defense of Muammar Gaddafi, which you and I both know that was under false pretenses. You know, and he's like, maybe they should have learned their lessons. And so, you know, during the Obama administration, I would find out that for sure, you know, back in 2013 when Bashar al-Assad was accused of using chemical weapons against his own people, that as I did my research and all that, come to find out that's not even true, I was beginning to like Bashar al-Assad, you know, and I was more on the side of Syria. It's kind of like that movie, I believe it's called Troy. It's with Brad Pitt. I think it's Troy. But nonetheless, though, he starts to speak with the enemy king, and he says, you know what, I respect you a lot more as a king than I do this one. You know, and that's about where I was, you know, when it comes to Babylon the Great, which I would find out later. I was dipping into it then, you know. I think that America would have to be Babylon the Great, because I've never seen such a fucking liar. All these politicians, just everything it claims that it is, it's quite opposite, you know. Nonetheless, though, you know, we're Jakes. The whole world is our enemy anyways, but I've stated this on numerous occasions that I wouldn't be surprised if you find out that Bashar al-Assad and his family are confusion of face Jakes, because we ruled during the Persian Empire, and you come to find out that he's of Shia descent, in essence of, you know, Houthis. You know, you find out about that brigade and all that, the al-Assad family. You do your connecting and all that, and you find out, well, he doesn't originate from Syria, but rather he originates from Persia, which is Elam. But he seems to be more like a Jake, just the resistance and all that. Nonetheless, though, even if he's not, Elam is an enemy of Amalek. And that's why they're so eager to get rid of him, because, of course, he refuses to be their puppet. And he says quite a lot. If you've caught his interviews, he says, you know, and he can speak English, by the way. He doesn't always speak in Arabic. He knows like 3 or 4 different languages. But he had stated this. He says, it would do me no bit of good to talk to Donald Trump, because he's just an Illuminati puppet. I mean, he said that in his own words. You know, that he doesn't make the decisions, you know, so talking to him is a waste of time. You know, that there really is no such thing as presidency in America. You see, what's controversial, or what you call conspiracy theory in Syria, these are well-known facts. They don't even use that term, conspiracy theories. You see what I'm saying? They know. And it's on national television in Syria. Everybody knows who the Illuminati are. And they also know who these fucking gutter rats are, and they know that those are not the real Jews. Now, whether they say in public that those are bastards and that they're Amalek, you know, is another, but nonetheless, though, you got a lot of our people in Syria. So anyhow, getting back to the story, Bashar al-Assad's wife has overcome cancer within her treatment and gave an interview. I'll play a little bit of this interview.
على السلامة. شكرا لاستضافتنا وشكرا لكونك ضيفة التلفزيون السوري لأول مرة.
أهلا وسهلا.
رح أبدأ مباشرة بسؤال كل السوريين أكيد ناطرينه. نحن بنعرف إنه رحلة مرض السرطان رحلة طويلة متعبة وشاقة. فينا نعرف بأي مرحلة صرتي بهي الرحلة؟
رحلتي انتهت بكل ألمها وتعبها وسلبياتها وحتى إيجابياتها، الحمد لله أنا خلصت.
يعني فينا نقول الحمد لله على السلامة. انتصرتي على مرض السرطان؟
الله يسلمك، الحمد لله أنا انتصرت على السرطان بالكامل.
رح نرجع لورا شوي. نحن بنعرف انه من سنوات حضرتك مهتمة بحملات الكشف المبكر عن سرطان الثدي تحديدا وعن السرطان بشكل عام. كنتي تكشفي، كنتي تقومي بالفحوصات الدورية، بهالطريقة اكتشفتي المرض، او خلينا نعرف كيف اكتشفتي المرض.
هلا اللي عملته بالحقيقة هو شيء كتير بديهي باعتبار ألف باء الصحة، انه الكشف المبكر عن اي مرض بيزيد من نسبة نجاح العلاج. هي من جانب. من جانب ثاني مثل ما ذكرتي أكيد أنا مهتمة وداعمة إلى حملة الكشف المبكر عن سرطان الثدي، فمو منطقي إنه أنا أشجع السيدات يقوموا بهي الخطوة وأنا ما طبقها على نفسي، وخاصة إنه الحملة الأخيرة وضحت إنه السيدة وقت بتتأخر بالفحص أو بتنتظر المرض ليتواجد بجسمها أو ينتشر، فهذا الشيء له انعكاس كتير سيء عليها وعلى المجتمع. فهدول كلهم كانوا دوافع بالنسبة لإلي إنه أنا أقوم بهاي الخطوة اللي هي خطوة كتير طبيعية. وبهاي المناسبة بدي شجع كل سيدة عمرها فوق 40 سنة تعمل الفحوصات الكشف المبكر كل سنة وما يخافوا، ولكني أنا مثال حي قدامهم وأنت مثال حي تاني.
طيب هلا أنا بدي وقف عند لحظة الاكتشاف، عند هاي اللحظة حابة وقف عندها. هلا بعرف إنه أبدا ما سهلة، بس حابة وقف عندها. لحظة تأكيد خبر الإصابة، شو حسيتي؟ شو كان موقفك؟ تفاجأتي؟
لما الإنسان بيسمع عن أي مرض فبشكل طبيعي هو بيطلع وبيقول إنه هذا رح يصيب أي شخص ما عداي أنا، وخاصة إذا حياته كانت صحية، يعني أكل صحي، رياضة مستمرة، نشاط عالي، ما بيدخن، ما في حتى حالة بالعيلة لهذا المرض، فمستحيل يتوقع حاله إنه هو ينصاب فيه. بس في نفس الوقت ما بقدر أقول لك إنه هي كانت مفاجأة تماماً، لأنه من النتائج الأولية للفحص يبدأ الشك، وهذا الشك بيزيد مع كل فحص لتوصلي للتشخيص الأخير وتعرفي حالك إنه أنت صار معك سرطان. هاي اللحظة مثل ما قلتي هي لحظة فاصلة.
شو حسيتي فيها هاي اللحظة؟
هلا هاي اللحظة في عندك مرضى ممكن يصير معهم حالة يأس كاملة لدرجة إنه هو يخاف وما بقى يآمن حتى إنه هو رح ينشفى، وفي مرضى كمان بيطلعوا وبيقولوا إنه لا هي امتحان والامتحان فيه تحدي.
Other things going on in Syria, this should not come as a surprise. Syrian Arab Army find armored vehicles and weapons left behind terrorists in Hamal countryside, and most of them are U.S., Israeli state. Army units found during combining operations in the towns of villages liberated from terrorism in the northwestern countryside of Hamal province, armored vehicles and weapons left behind the defeated terrorist organizations, which you know that they got their backing from the United States and Gomer, which is Babylon the Great. Syrian Arab news agency reporter in Hamas said that the engineering units have combed the areas of Al-Jabin and Talmud and their surroundings, and they found vehicles and a T-55 tank in addition to vehicles equipped with machine guns and different sorts of weapons, V-10 rounds, mortar launcher pads, and a box of ammunition. So that's what's going on in Syria this beginning of a new week here. And of course more. At least 31 Syrian troops, Allied fighters, killed in blasts at airbase in Homs province. You can best believe that this is a Mossad operation. But you know all these terror groups work with Mossad. At least 31 Syrian government troops and allied fighters have lost their lives in an explosion at a military airport in Syria's central province of Homs, a UK-based monitoring group says. The so-called Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported on Saturday that the blast occurred at the Sharat airfield southeast of Homs earlier in that day. It added that the cause of the explosion had not yet been determined without giving the number of possible wounded and the extent of material damage it inflicted on the airport. In a separate report, Syria's official news agency, Syrian Arab News Agency, reported that several people had been killed in the blast without specifying the exact number of the casualties. However, it said that a technical fault during the transport of expired ammunition had caused the deadly incident. Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes you just get old equipment, and, so I can see the possibility of that happening, because, the terrorist groups are getting new weapons, but, a lot of times the Syrian Arab Army only gets old weapons, because their main ally is Russia, because Gomer is not an ally at all to Syria. And, Iran, Persia is probably, although almost every time you see that they're about to get a shipment, well, fucking goddamn Amalek. Israeli state bombs them. Back in April 2017, a suspected sarin gas attack hit the town of Khan Shakhan in the northwestern Syrian province of Idlib, killing more than 80 people. Oh yeah, and by the way, that wasn't reported by the mainstream because, you see, they couldn't blame the Syrian Arab Army. But nonetheless, though, it was reported on the Syrian Arab News Agency. But, you see, they're not going to report that because, of course, the terrorists did that, and there's, without a doubt, proof that the terrorists did it, so there's no way that they could falsify and say that it was Bashar al-Assad. Besides, most of the time, when they try to falsify and say that Bashar al-Assad attacked his people, it ain't even a real sarin gas attack to begin with. It's just made to look like, because that's what the white helmets do. The Western countries rushed to blame the incident on domestic... Oh, wait, maybe it was. With the U.S. launching some 60 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Well, I take that back. Okay, were fired from its warships deployed to the Mediterranean at the Shara airfield in an assault slammed by Syria as an act of aggression. Nonetheless, though, there was a chemical attack that did happen, and the fucking dinosaur media, the mainstream, was very quiet about it, and that was by way of them terrorist groups. But nonetheless, though, this was the one. This is while the Syrian government turned over its entire chemical stockpile under a deal negotiated by Russia and the U.S. in 2013. The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons has overseen operations to remove the government chemical arsenal from Syria. And everybody knows that the Syrian Arab Army does not have these type of weapons. Syria has been gripped by foreign-backed militancy since March 2011. The Syrian government says the Israeli regime, which is Amalek, the Zionists, and its Western and regional allies are aiding Takfiri terrorist groups that are wreaking havoc in the country. In recent months, foreign-backed terrorists have been suffering heavy defeats in battles against Syrian government forces, backed by the Russian Air Force and Iranian military advisors. And that's the biggest reason why you're seeing these false flag shootings over here, because, of course, the heat is on and the terrorist groups are being defeated in Syria. Everybody knows that Mossad, who they are, the deep state, if you will. Although there's no secret deep state. All of the U.S. government and its allies are corrupt, and its allies are turning against the corrupt government. And other things going on. I'm sure you've already heard about this. Persia, better known as Iran, seizes taker smuggling field to Arab states in Persian Gulf. And it looks like we got a video here, so we'll let this one play.
Dr. Mohammed Marandi, professor at the University of Tehran,
Mr. Morandi, this is not the first time that Iran is clamping down on illegal oil smuggling. What do you make of this latest move?
Well, part of the problem is because Iran's oil is heavily subsidized, or Iranian fuel is heavily subsidized, so it creates an incentive for smugglers. But also, according to officials and people who are in the know, they believe that actually in this underworld of smuggling, foreign countries, their armed forces, people linked to positions of power are involved in this smuggling. It's sort of like Afghanistan, where the occupation forces, the Western occupation forces, are deeply involved in the smuggling of drugs. So in the case here, from my understanding, the previous tanker that was taken was actually linked somehow to the United States Armed Forces, or people within the armed forces.
And Professor Morandi, in similar cases, we witnessed some negative reactions by the West, accusing Iran of pursuing other objectives. Do you expect a similar reaction this time?
Well, that's the norm. Just like when Iran carries out capital punishment for major or let's say influential people who carry out the drug trade, Western countries regularly condemn Iran, and they sort of imply that this is linked to human rights or freer groups that want to develop civil society. So when they speak about Iranian executions, they give numbers, but they don't make it clear that the overwhelming majority of executions in Iran are directly linked to the drug trade. That's a sort of playing with numbers and statistics out of hatred towards Iran. In this case, I would assume that just as in the previous ship where it was a clear act of smuggling, and the armed forces and the judiciary have to be involved, Western countries will usually not show it in the proper light. But the problem for them is that the more they try to make this a political issue, the more the insurance companies will have an incentive to take more money, the more companies will be unwilling to do trade in this region, so they basically shoot themselves in the feet, or they shoot their regional allies like Saudi Arabia and the Emirates in the feet. The more stability, the worse it is for their own allies.
So you heard it first, though, that the more that there's stability in the area, the more unable it is for them to smuggle oil. You see, but they don't want you to know anything about it. That's why these shootings, like I said before. And here's another one. Syrian forces seize U.S.-made TOW missiles drone in former terrorist hideouts. So there you go. You know, we just, the lid's been blown off on this, that, pretty much that, the U.S. is only there to help the terrorist groups. Syrian government forces have seized a considerable amount of Western-made weapons and munitions, including American TOW missiles left behind by terrorist outfits in the southern part of the war-torn Arab country. Syria's official news agency reported on Sunday that army troops have discovered and seized the weapons, including 23 rapid-firing and automatic anti-aircraft guns, a considerable amount of machine gun rounds, as well as various rifles and rockets. It added that the Syrian soldiers had discovered a number of U.S.-made anti-tank TOW tube-launched, optically tracked, wire-guided missiles, high-explosive shells, and mortar shells. So, just more proof on who's supplying the terrorist groups and who's really fighting terrorism. Syria has been fighting terrorism for quite a while. I'm not sure if I read this, but I'll just tell you. Over 30 forces killed and blasted in Homs, Oh, look at this. Here's another one. So, you know as well as I do, to help the terrorists, here's another ceasefire, and you know what Gomer's going to do. Syrian government forces agree to Idlib truce if buffer zone created. So pretty much, this is Gomer getting their terrorist groups re-infiltrated, restructured so they can still stay in Syria illegally. The Syrian government has agreed to a truce deal in the country's militant-held northwestern province of Idlib on condition that a buffer zone is created between army troops and foreign-sponsored Takfiri terrorists. So, pretty much. And then there's, I'm sure you already heard about this, Israeli missile hits village in southwestern Syria. No casualties reported, so, Amalek doing what it usually does. Israeli state has launched a missile at an area in Syria's southwestern province of Qanata, near the border with the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. So, U.S. forces take over illegal... Okay, that one's one I already read. I read that the other day, but pretty much they're just going to take it from there, Now they're the Daesh terrorists, because we know that America is the terrorist, and that, they got protection. So, now we'll just deal with the false flag shooting. And you already know about the Walmart one, but this is another one. Another mass shooting leaves 9 dead, 26 injured in Dayton, Ohio, Bar District. Just hours after the mass shooting in El Paso, Texas Mall, 9 people are dead after a shooting in Dayton. Okay, so that's a mall shooting in El Paso, so there was also a Walmart incident too, so. At least 26 were hospitalized with injuries. The gunman was taken out by officers responding to the incident. Again, don't know if it's true or not, but if you see mass protesting and all that shit, then most likely this was a coordinated event. If not, probably was a real shooting. I mean, I don't put it past these red Hebrew Edomites. Fucking piece of shit. That's what they do, man. Again, we just said it the other day, man. Esau is a wounded animal in the woods, so what do you think he's going to do when he's fucking cornered? Here's this article. What if there was no money? Oh, that's a good subject, so let's take a look at this video if it'll play.
What if?
Okay, this is propaganda for everybody to take the mark of the beast. This is part of the so-called miracles of taking the chip would be. Check out this propaganda. It just pops up right in the midst of it. So they plan to do away with the money system.
Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. What would a world without money look like? Would society be better off? Would it eliminate greed or hunger? Would we be happier? How would you get the things you need? This is what if, and here's what would happen if we had no money. Dollars, cents, savings, debt. Like it or not, this is our society today. But it wasn't always that way. Several thousand years ago, we were a species of hunters and gatherers, tracking, foraging, keeping only what we could carry. But along the way, we started experimenting with agriculture and learned how to grow our own food. We stopped moving and settled down, forming organized communities. Life got easier, but we still wanted more than we had. So we began to barter. Fast forward a few thousand years to the first minted coin in 600 BC. Cash became king. And today, money still does the talking. So what would you say if the world suddenly went broke? Understandably, it isn't easy to imagine a world without money, so we went ahead and did the hard work for you. One thing is certain, looting and crime would skyrocket. Humans have needs. We get hungry, we get cold, we get jealous. Law and economy normally keep these drives in check, determining what we can afford and what we can get away with. But suddenly, everything has lost its value, and whoever's job it is to watch the goods or maintain order no longer has an incentive to do so. No one wants to work for free. Without paychecks, we lose important services. No police, no fire department, no doctors, no military. And what about technology? Power isn't free, neither is running water. Definitely not gasoline. And ditto for cell service and the internet. So our world would be thrown into a dark, anarchic chaos. In this survival of the fittest scenario, gun owners would fare the best, and it would be in their best interest to band together to claim a greater share of resources at lower risk. With humans forming into factions, we can already begin to see a repetition of early sedentary societies. The streets would no longer be safe. You'd have a high chance of being ambushed, and anything worth taking would likely already be under armed watch. So humans would establish stationary communities in fortified positions. They may send teams out to raid nearby communities or establish partnerships with neighbors. We'd have to re-establish the barter system, only it's harder to do in modern society. Early civilization had fewer commodities, making fair trade easier. But since we're used to so many different goods and services, it might be difficult to establish a proper exchange rate. It's not simply a matter of trading apples for oranges. Is a Granny Smith worth as much as a blood orange? What if your apple's organic and the orange is GMO? What protections would we have against counterfeit goods? And how could you save for the future if everything in the market has a shelf life? These are only some of the concerns that we've more or less resolved since the introduction of currency. But maybe a world without currency would be an opportunity to restructure our society. Today, we produce enough food to feed everyone, yet people still go hungry. And there's enough shelter for all of us to sleep soundly, yet some of us are homeless. Without money, we might learn to be comfortable with less. Without fortunes, there'd be fewer less fortunates. We might enjoy working freely for a greater good. Of course, a better world doesn't have to be a what-if scenario. Through trade, we've learned to cooperate. And when hard work pays off, we're encouraged to innovate. The challenge then is to improve upon the existing system and empower more people within it. Do you think we can do it? Where should we start? A penny for your thoughts, and pay it forward.
You see how Esau fucking lies, man? You know, this is the trick that he does to get you to want to accept that microchip, which is going to be the solution to all of this. You know, but you and we, the elect, we see right through this shit. And of course, on that same day, 20 dead, 26 injured in El Paso Mall attack, shooter in custody. And we know it's an Edomite. Mass shooting at Walmart in a mall in El Paso. So this is the one with the Walmart. All right. Got it. At least 26 injured. At least 20 dead. America's 8th deadliest mass shooting. Yeah, they don't want you to talk about Gad or Reuben, all those shootings, right? No, just only when fucking Edomites get killed. Although, let's be honest, Reuben took out a lot of the fucking Edomites, and they couldn't exterminate Reuben, So, nonetheless, though, but they don't really want you. See, there's that little promotion again. What if there's no money? You see how this is a trick? But that's what he does, is, So, in a stunning update, NBC News reports, which you can best believe that it's a false flag. Well, you may as well just say it, that they'll use it for their gun control, whether this happened or didn't happen, but it probably did. And like I said, they'll just use it to advocate their gun control, because the lobbyists are there, the Amalekites and fucking gutter rats want the guns off the streets anyways. One suspect, a 21-year-old man from the Dallas arena, is in custody, law enforcement sources said. Now, I believe that it just has to do with the goddamn curses that are here, because fucking piece of shit America, is just, they got a fucking curse on them because of what they fucking did, man. So, here's some statistics. I'm not going to read them. I mean, this is here on Zero Hedge. Now, here's Donald Trump. Terrible shootings at El Paso. Texas reports are very bad. Many killed. Working with state and local authorities and law enforcement. Spoke to government to pledge total support of federal government. And we know who their God is. Satan be with you all. Because this is Satan right here. These red Hebrew Edomites. And Donald Trump, great Satan leader. Because you gotta remember, America is great Satan to the rest of the world. Hey, that's what it is, great Satan. Because that means adversary. The great adversary to the entire world is America, Babylon the Great. Okay, now getting into another topic. California homeless crisis spreads to Orange County, doubles in 2 years. And I see it right here in Redding. They even fenced off the goddamn post office because the homeless there. Orange County, California, like much of the state, has seen tremendous house price gains since the Great Recession. Over time, residents who had access to cheap credit could afford to live in the county, resulting in a significant gap between the rich and the poor. But what these gutter rats have done, they've hiked everything and pretty much have forced people to be homeless. And then just don't, let's, go ahead and point it out. The obvious, all these closings such as Toys R Us, Sears, Kmart, Payless, Shoe Source, you got Shopko, Hometown Buffet, just all of a sudden closing. You got downsizing going on. Rayleigh's, the second Rayleigh's was closed. So, where are these people going to go to get jobs? They're not, so they end up on the streets, man. And then you got the car fire that happened here, man. Just, plagues are hitting Babylon the Great. A new 149-page report from Orange County's 2019 Homeless Point in Time Count, published on July 30 to the Board of Supervisors, sheds more light in the expanding wealth gap that has the county with a homelessness crisis, reported Orange County Register. Oh yeah, that's another thing. When you go on to Course Street here in Redding and you actually, as you're passing things by where the homeless colony is, one of many homeless colonies here. Pretty much it's a huge ghetto. It says, and it's a sign up that no justice for the homeless, that pretty much that the justice for the homeless is unfair. Yeah, because their solution is to pretty much just rid them. They've closed off all the other places. See, there's that, what if there's no money? What if, so they're really pushing it here on Zero Hedge. The findings reveal Black, African American, or multiracial, as well as Hispanic or Latinos, make up an increasing percentage of homeless people in the county. Yeah, but here in Redding, though, the majority are the red Hebrew Edomites, and it's fun to see. Man, we've been fucking dealing with this for a very long time anyways. We're organized. We know what the fuck to do, man. White people, aka Edomites, because that's who they are, represented the largest single group of homeless people, just like I said. More than 2/3 of individuals with and without shelter. Yeah, it's catching on to you red Hebrew Edomites. About 8.41% of homeless people in the county without shelter were Black or American. So pretty much what they're saying, though, is that we only make 8.41%. The rest of the majority, so about 91.6%, are you red Hebrew Edomites. This is fun to see. A little over 12% of the unsheltered are described as multiple races, no definition provided, or other, compared to 3.5% overall. So, it's happening to you red Hebrew Edomites. The survey found more men were homeless, 62%, than women. County supervisors discussed Tuesday at a meeting about the ideas to defeat homelessness. Their plan: build more affordable housing with support services, not just in Orange County, but across the state. Yeah, but that shit ain't fucking happening in Redding. No, man, they're just trying to weed them out. And you got goddamn fucking Bethel Church fucking weeding them out. Which is a judgment from the Most High anyways. Because, who set up the governments? There ain't nothing that happens on the face of this planet that the Most High does not allow. So this is hitting you fucking red Hebrew Edomites, you murderers, you thieves, liars. A total of 311 homeless veterans were counted in the survey. Price said the county's plan is to house 20 veterans per month. Well, pretty much you can see the uproars of the people here in Redding, though, that the ruling for homelessness, totally unfair. Yeah, because pretty much, though, what's happening is they do raids at night. You can hear the helicopters going off. They're pretty much arresting and taking away the homeless. But it's still a very large amount here. And so what do you do when you got a wounded animal? Yeah, that's why my car was broken into, I can't say it enough. And that's why, people are stealing from Taco Bell, everything else, man. Nothing but lawlessness, because why? The lawless one, Edom, is in power. So, here it is, and it just takes me right to this scripture, because you have nothing but sin and lawlessness, and 2/3 of our people, in the man of sin, being Esau, Edom, being revealed. So, I'm just going to pull it right out of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, starting in verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. This happened when Jerusalem fell, in 70 A.D., and that man of sin, being the Edomite, be revealed, the son of perdition, which is still happening now, because we just call them Edomites. Back then it was just called the Roman Empire, but we all knew that they were Edomites then too. That he, because especially by iconoclasm, verse 4 here, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God. He even paints the image showing that he is God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And he did that with iconoclasm, man. We already know about the image of Caesar Borgia. We know about the images of the angels. We know about the image of so-called Mother Mary, the Virgin Mary. We know about all this. And we just know that Edomites are painted as gods. They even got angels with wings looking like Edomites. So we know that that this has already come to pass. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now you know that withholdeth that he be revealed in his time. The time of the revealing is now. We've been revealing Esau and everything that he's been doing. False flags are always there, and we're showing who he is committing the atrocities and murders in the world. Who this murderer is. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. Eventually Esau will be taken out of the way. And that is also dealing with the fact that eventually, and we've already prophesied, so we're going to be taken out of the way. Meaning that you ain't going to see us anymore. The fan of the word's going to come in. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Most High shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, which is what we're doing now, prophesying against Esau, Edom, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. That is when he comes back on them chariots. The brightness, because, man, there ain't nothing brighter than a bunch of nuclear missiles and lasers coming from them chariots, man. Ain't nothing fucking brighter than that. Even him who's coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. We're talking about when Yahweh shall come to deliver his elect and to destroy Esau, Edom once and for all, especially Babylon the Great. With all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish. Again, there's so many that still are joined unto Esau, want to quit Esau, because they receive not the love of this truth. What we're trying to tell you, that they might be saved. No, man, they don't want to be saved, man. They love it here in America. They love Babylon the Great. They don't want to get rid of their white friends. They don't want to stand out. They don't want to be in the house of mourning. And for this cause, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai shall send them strong delusion. And these fucking Edomite Christians are fucking delusional, man. They're hallucinating into thinking that there's a all-loving God who loves everybody, who just wants to shine his light, right? You know, they're singing them songs, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna shine," you know, and they're singing in them fucking churches, them fucking whorehouses, you know, when Jesus calls his children home, you know, and just drinking that fucking Kool-Aid, that they should believe a lie, because Jesus Christ is not his name. You know, Jesus Christ is a title, to be honest with you, but there's no J in the Hebrew. Man, we try to, you know, tell that, but they don't want to hear it. That they all be damned who believeth not this truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness, and that's what them whorehouses are. So, you know, I hope all this has been edifying, and like everything else, then, stay communicating, man. Communicate with your leaders. You know, make sure that you're in good, strong communication, man. It's not that hard. We're always going to have people over us, man. We're going to, you know, when our parents die, and I've lost my father, new parents are born, man. You know? And, hey, most of our immediate family, man, they're not going to make it in this. Our new family's being born unto us. That's what the house of David is all about. Your real family is in the house of David. So, why not listen to your parents? Your new parents that you have in this. For all that, I want to say Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakal Kadash, Wa Abal Babal, and Brachatham Jehovah Elect. Now on to Apostle Ramla and this important lesson in communication. Shalom.
Communicate. Be in verbal contact, interchange information or ideas. I want to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakah Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is communication. There seems to be a problem among the camps with communication. And there seems to be a problem among the camps also with humility, you know, not wanting to deal with another camp because they feel that they have to be under the orders of that camp. And we've said it before, but it seems like guys just don't listen. But anyway, that's not the message that was conveyed. The message that was conveyed is if you have a state or a country or some place that has more than one camp, you know, you're supposed to, if there's 3 camps, for instance, or 4 camps, and one camp is chosen to be the camp to give the report, the other 3 camps just report to the one camp so that they can report to the proper channels, instead of having all 4 camps, or 5 or 3 or 2, everybody giving a report, which will lead to nothing but confusion. But no matter how many times you say it, that doesn't mean that you're under that camp, and that, you know, because you got guys, you know, that's well, you know, I started this camp, and this is, you know, we were established for that other camp, so I don't feel that we should be subjected to them, and you know, and you know, it ain't got nothing to do with that, to being under subjection or anything. It's just a fucking report. It's just a fucking report. Just a fucking report. What don't you guys get about that? That it's just a fucking report that you're giving to this camp so that they can relay the message back to the proper channels. What don't you fucking guys get? Huh? My goodness. I mean, you guys are, some of you guys out there in Great Millstone are worse than fucking women, man. I'm telling you, some of you are worse than fucking women. You know? And that's a goddamn shame, man. You had to keep addressing the same shit over and over again. It's fucking ridiculous, man. You know? But the problem is that there's a fucking lack of communication. There's a serious lack of communication. And guys are getting all bent out of shape because now the structure is being put so that communication can come across, but guys still don't want to deal with it. I don't feel that I should have to call them because I don't want them being over me. What did Yahweh Shai say, man? The greater thou art, well, the scripture said, the greater thou art, the more humble thyself. What's up with scriptures like that? Oh, nobody wants to apply those scriptures. They want to break down Revelation and Daniel and Genesis and go into the deep breakdowns and into the Greek and into the Hebrew, you know, and call halal Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Waha Rakak Wadash, and all of that. But simple things that Yahweh Shai taught, they don't want to adhere to that. What did Yahweh Shai say? He that is greatest among you, let him be as a servant. What's this spirit out there of no one is over me, I'm the top guy? Where the fuck did that spirit come from? It's ridiculous, you know, that you have to keep fucking addressing the same shit over and over again, man. It's fucking ridiculous, man. Fucking ridiculous. 1 Corinthians 14 and 40. Let all things be done decently and in order. What does that mean? Let all things be done decently and in order. It means what it means. There's an order that's set up. And in order for things to stay in the proper order and there be no chaos, you know, there's a certain way that things are established. You got guys saying, well, that's not how we do it here. That's not how we do it over here. And that's not how we do it here. Nobody gives a fuck about how you do it where you at. If you learn from the apostles and elders a great millstone, you either do it the way the apostles and elders do it, or you can get to stepping. You know, this insubordination is not going to be tolerated anymore. You know, and we don't give a fuck. Look, we put everything out there. You know, our enemies getting this information and say, yeah, see, they got turmoil going on. It ain't turmoil. It's just guys that are acting like bitches. You know, and I'm coming straight forward with it. You got guys that are acting like bitches that refuse to get in order, just for the sake of giving a freaking report, you know, just to establish if everything is cool in your camp. Well, why do we got to talk to that camp over there? Or why do we have to report to them? We're over them. Anyway, I'm gonna read this definition again, and I'm gonna get some of those words in there. This is the word communicate. Be in verbal contact, interchange information or ideas. You know, and a lot of a lot of shit that's going on too is guys, you know, oh, he said this and he said that, you know, and all of a sudden, you know, you in an angry state with brothers over some petty bullshit, but you'll never address it to them. You always go to this one and to that one, but you won't address the individual that you have the problem with. You know, hey, some of you guys are in for a rude awakening, man. I'm telling you, some of you guys are in for a fucking rude awakening. You know, this is the book of Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. You know, we're all guilty of that from time to time. You know, but overall, you know, it comes a point where you have to address the situation. The shit is not just going to go away. You know, if you have a situation with a brother, it's not just going to go away just because you don't talk about it. All it's going to do is going to fester. And the more it festers, the angrier that brothers are going to get. And then when you get down to the root of the matter, it's a bunch of bullshit. It ain't even nothing serious. You know? Even women don't get down like that. Even women have sense enough to get past certain shit. This is the book of Hebrews, and I'm just gonna say a few more words, and I'm gonna close this out because, hey, honestly, I'm just being honest. I'm fucking disgusted, man. I'm fucking disgusted. Hebrews chapter 12. Just bear with me till I find the verse. All right, let's start at Hebrews chapter 12, verse 13. And make straight paths for your feet. Let's start at 12. Wherefore lift up the hands which hang down, and the feeble knees. Yeah, because we're coming to the end. I mean, depression sets in, but we got to get past that because we're coming to the end, and we see all of these different prophecies popping off, and things that are happening that are ushering in the second coming of Yahushua. So we should be happy. We should be glad, although we're still vexed and upset and oppressed and pissed off. We should be happy that the Lord is on his way by all of these different events that are taking place. It says, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. See? So when there's situations going on with brothers, it should be healed. And the only way to make that, to heal it, is to what? To talk about it, to address it. Not run to this one and to that one and tell, look, this guy, he did this to me. Because what you're creating is you're creating more division, you're creating dissension. Now you're causing this brother to be against that brother because of some petty bullshit that you got going on that you could have addressed with that brother and got it out of the way, and it would have been done. Hey, what did Peter say? How many times must I forgive my brother if he come to me? 7 times? Yahweh said no, 70 times 7. And sometimes you got to be the bigger man and step to that brother. All this talk about everybody's, I'm a man, yeah, I'm a man. And a lot of you guys act like fucking women, worse than women. Talking about you a man, but you can't even address a simple situation. You rather be mad and have you be all uptight and get a high blood pressure, and headaches, than to go address the situation with the brother to make that shit straight, and that way it'll be out the door. Now let's move on, And then when you do that, I should have done it a long time ago. Yeah, no shit. No shit, Sherlock. It says, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. Looking diligently, lest any man fail or fall of the grace of the Most High, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. And that's what happens. And this is why whole camps fall out. Because one individual has a beef with somebody, and because these other individuals look up to him, they are going to go with what he says. And before you know it, no, we can't reconcile. Nope, there's no chance of reconciliation. Now you're out there, on your own. And before you know it, them demons jump on you, and then you start talking shit about the men that taught you. Oh no, I ain't gonna do that. Well, that's what them other guys said. Your grumpy knuckles and your Nazariahs and your eggheads and and the rest, and the list goes on and on and on. That's what they said. But what are they doing now? Because them demons are working overtime in their minds and making them think that they're right. So while you brothers have the chance and the opportunity, while you're here, make amends with your brother, man. That's the greatest commandment underneath loving the Lord thy power with all thy heart, mind, and soul. And the Apostle Paul, let me see if let me just proofread something real quick, make sure I got it right. Well, pretty much, like the scriptures say, let brotherly love continue, and how beautiful it is when brothers dwell together in unity. Well, part of the unity is being on the same page. So if there's a situation going on in a particular camp and nobody knows about it, how is the problem going to be rectified if nobody knows about it? And if you have 2, 3, 4, 5 different camps in one state or in another country, if one camp receives the report from all of them, they can give the report instead of having all different types of reports coming in and causing nothing but confusion. Because another thing where we read here and back in 1 Corinthians 14:40, let all things be done decently and in order. When you jump up to the 33rd verse, for the Most High is not the author of confusion. And when you look up the word confusion in verse 33, the word there, there's a Greek word there that means tumult or inquietness, and that's what happens. There's inquietness. There's a lack of calmness. you know, because things are not on a perfect balance. They're off because the men that are running it are not doing what they're supposed to do. As far as, you know, if a brother does something to them, go to that brother and talk to him about it, you know. And that breeds contempt, that breeds hatred, that breeds anger, you know. But then, you know, here it is, the same individual, you know, that refuses to go to his brother and talk to his brother. He'll go to, you know, to pray to the Lord. Lord, please forgive me for my iniquities, please forgive me for my sins. But yet you don't have enough minerals or enough integrity to go to your brother and make that situation correct, all right. And that's something else that Yahushua said. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5. I'm not sure the exact verse, so I may have to okay, here it is. Matthew 5:21. You have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. See? So you guys are playing. You guys are playing with fire, man. You know, the brotherhood is a very sacred thing, and you guys have forsake the brotherhood and do amiss to the brotherhood. You in a serious danger, man. You in some serious danger, you know, of being destroyed, of being judged. But you know when guys are gonna want to get right? When somebody gets killed, you know, then everybody straightens up, you know, for a little while anyway. And then they go right back to the same bullshit they were doing. If somebody gets killed, then everybody's gonna want to straighten up. Oh shit, you know? And that'll last for how long? Maybe a month, maybe a couple of months, and they go right back to your old bullshit. Hey, that's why the Most High used to fuck Israel up constantly. Constantly. How many times did the Lord mention certain things in the scriptures and Jake just kept going off? They will straighten out for a little bit and then they'll go right back to the same old bullshit. It says, and whosoever shall say to his brother Raka shall be in danger of the council, but whosoever shall say thou fool shall be in danger of hellfire. And you know, none of you out there know who's the elect and who's not. You know? So when you do something to a brother, how do you know that brother is not a part of the elect? The Lord's little ones, and you're oppressing them or talking shit to them or doing stuff to them. You don't think the Lord sees? Hey, the scriptures say that curse not the king, not in thy thoughts, you know, in that bedchamber, because that which has wings will go and tell the matter. The angels are checking out everything, man. You know? It says, therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way first, and be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. So if you know that there's shit going on, but you going to the Lord, praying to the Lord, asking for forgiveness, and you ain't making that right with your brother, then you know what? The Lord ain't listening to you. Yahushua said, if you can't forgive your brother, the Lord ain't gonna forgive you. You know? Matter of fact, let's look up some of these words. Let's look up the 24th verse. Let's look up the word reconcile, just the main word reconciled. And by now, man, you brothers that's been in this for a while, you shouldn't have to be told certain shit. You should already know. All right, that's the 24th verse. Reconciled. Dialazo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It says to change thoroughly, that is mentally, to conciliate, right? So reconcile means to make it right again, you know. Let's look that up in a regular dictionary. Even though this dictionary is offline, they don't really give you a whole lot, because the word re means back. And then you have the word reconcile. Make one thing compatible with another to bring it back into harmony. You know, come to terms. Yeah, so to bring back into harmony, bring back that peace. Because you know what the scripture said, that a brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city. You know, so while you have the opportunity, before that gall of bitterness springs up, you know, you can make it right. Because it may get to a point where it won't be able to be made right anymore. Then what you gonna do? No, when the brother don't want to hear nothing you gotta say. Let's see. Let's go to Hebrews 12. I want to get that precept. I want to get that word gall or bitterness. Oh wow, I went right to it. Root. Let's go to the word root first. Ridza just means root. Ain't really saying too much. Bitterness. Pikria, acridity, especially poison. Literally or figuratively, bitterness. So it's poison. And that's why, you know, when you have a problem with somebody, the anger gets deeper and deeper. How do you think when these people out here that commit these crimes of passion, you know, and they take somebody and they stab them 50 times or 100 times, or they hack their limbs, you know, off? No, that's a crime of passion. You know why? Because it's something that was building up and building up and building up and building up till finally they just had it and they just let all their frustration loose on that person. You see, it's a buildup. So if you let that bitterness continue to build, it's going to breed more and more hate and contempt for your brother. And guess what? You're going to be in trouble, because you're going to be, you know, you may get destroyed. All because you just can't put shit aside. You got to think about these things, man. Yeah, it's all well and dandy. We out there in the streets teaching and speaking and prophesying, because that's what we're supposed to do. But there's other things that we're supposed to be doing too. And I don't give a good goddamn any other camp out there that watches this and, you know, see, GMS, you're having problems. Look, man, every camp out there goes through shit. But we're just verbal about what we do. We're an open book, so to speak. We got nothing to hide. And this is why, you know, they come at it, well, you know, you guys said about the year 2000 thing. Well, how the hell did anybody get those videos? We were the ones that put the videos up. So if we were trying to hide anything, why would we put those videos up? We weren't trying to hide nothing. That's why we put those videos up. Those videos wasn't something that Nate or any of the other different camps found and just put them up. We put those videos up. You see? Because we ain't got nothing to hide. So that was it on that. Let me see. I got some precepts I wrote down. I'll probably just get a couple of these and close it out. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus chapter 9, verse 10. It says, forsake not an old friend, for the new is not comparable to him. A new friend is as new wine. When it is old, thou shalt drink it with pleasure. See? So if you have a friend, you know, in the truth, because a brotherhood is a friendship. You know? What did Yahweh say? I call you not servants anymore, but friends. For a servant knoweth not what his master doeth. So the Lord revealed these secrets unto him, so he considers us to be friends also. You know, we're servants, but we're friends. So among the brotherhood is a friendship. You know? Let's see. Sirach 22. And I probably just close it with this one. Because like I said, I'm fucking disgusted, man. Having to deal with the same fucking bullshit issue over and over and over and over again. Sirach 22:20. Whoso casteth a stone at the birds frayeth them away, and he that upbraideth his friend breaketh friendship. You know, oh, this one said this one about you, and this one said that about you. You know, causing dissension, which is one of the things that the Most High hates. It says, though thou drewest a sword at thy friend, yet despair not, for there may be a return to favor. But there comes a point where if you offend a brother to a certain degree, that friendship that you have with him is going to take a lot. Because it said it's harder to be won than a strong city. You know? So it's going to be hard to get that brother, you know, his trust back. And even when if you do reconcile, he's going to be looking at you sideways anyway, because he's not going to be able to fully trust you like he did before. It says, if thou hast opened thy mouth against thy friend, fear not, for there may be a reconciliation. And that's what we just read about being reconciled. All right? Except for upbraiding or pride. See, and that's a motherfucker right there. Pride is a motherfucker. And that shit is running like wildfire right now in Great Millstone. That spirit of pride. And I see it popping off for all kind of dudes. You know? And this is why guys can't humble themselves enough to just give a simple report to make sure everything is going good. Because that fucking pride, man, is like that kindling in the stubble that starts to catch on fire, and once it starts, that roaring fire starts to catch, it just starts going, you know, all throughout. And that's what's happening. It says, or disclosing of secrets, or a treacherous wound, for these things every friend will depart. Be faithful to thy neighbor in his poverty. And this is why you got individuals right now that are not a part of Great Millstone, because they refuse to humble themselves. So they'd rather take the name GMS off of their channel than to humble themselves. The Lord can't deal with a guy like that. The Lord said he resisted the proud and giveth grace to the humble, to the lowly. Think about that. You guys have that know all these scriptures, but then when it comes time to applying basic principle things, you can't even do that. You need to examine yourself to see if you really are in this thing or not. Why are you in this thing? You got to ask yourself. It says, be faithful to thy neighbor in his poverty, that thou mayest rejoice in his prosperity. Abide steadfast unto him in the time of his trouble, that thou mayest be heir with him in his heritage. For a mean estate is not always to be contemned, nor the rich that is foolish to be had in admiration. As the vapor and smoke of a furnace goeth before the fire, so reviling before blood. I will not be ashamed to defend a friend, neither will I hide myself from him. All right. Let me see what this one says here. The 7th chapter. I'm going to just read 6 and 1. Instead of a friend, become not an enemy, for thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name, shame and reproach. Even so shall the sinner that hath the double tongue. And after you gain that bad name, ain't nobody really going to want to fuck with you. They're going to try their best to avoid you, man. Well, this guy is a shit starter. You know, he just, you know, after a while, brother's not going to want to fuck with you. Verse 13, I believe it is, yep. Separate thyself from thine enemies and take heed of thy friends. Now let's jump to the 7th chapter and the 12th verse. It says, devise not a lie against thy brother, neither do the like to thy friend. Verse 18, change not a friend for any good, by no means, neither a faithful brother for the gold of Ophir. All right. And those are pretty much self-explanatory. And let's see what it says in Philippians 3 and 15. Philippians chapter 3 verse 15. Let us therefore, as many as be perfect, be thus minded. And if in anything you be otherwise minded, the Most High shall reveal even this unto you. Nevertheless, whereto we have already attained, let us walk by the same rule, let us mind the same thing. And this is why The scriptures say, let all things be done decently and in order. There's an order, you know. The scriptures say, be thou diligent to know the state of thy flock. So if something is amiss, you're damn right we want to know about it. But if it's some foolery or some fuckery, you know, excuse my medieval Sanskrit, you know, then, you know, you deal with that in the camp. You know? And if it comes to a point where you can't deal with the situation in the camp, guess what? Then the Lord is going to step in. And then there's going to be problems. And that's pretty much all I got.